team, look, we didn't win against these 4 teams last season. You've done it with the previous 3. Now the chance to do it with the 4th.
Well, if we want a very different outcome, we better do very different things that we did last year, especially against these fixtures. So we know what Palace are doing, what Oliver is done for the football club, and the way they are getting results. So it's going to be a really tough match, but we're going to play again in front of our crowd, and we are confident if we hit our level, we have a big chance to win it.
Final one from me, Mikel. A lot of people are talking about the strength of your squad. Just from the manager's perspective, does that bring with it its own challenges? Because I'm guessing it can't be easy for you to leave out players who maybe deserve to be in the team. And how accepting, on the flip side, do the players have to be to know, look, you're not going to play as much as maybe you deserve or you want to?
Well, there are 2 sides to it. One, the emotional part and my attachment with the individual, with the person, and I would love to play all of them, but the second one, obviously, without a question of a doubt, I'd rather have this situation, the situation we had in the last few years, when at some point we were very short in numbers. So we have created a very strong environment, a really competitive and supportive environment that hopefully can challenge to be very competitive every game. That's the aim, and that's what we want to achieve, and we just all go towards that direction.
Thank you.
Anita from the Premier League.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
You've obviously got some players who are in great form, but looking at Crystal Palace, Jean-Philippe Mateta looks like a completely new player. 5 goals so far in the opening, 8 Premier League games. How do you stop him?
Well, first of all, is obviously what they do as a team at their level of organization. They have very clear intentions of how they want to attack and which moment they use to attack and to hurt opponents. So stopping the source is probably the best way. When you get into certain situation within in 1v1, you know that that is very prolific and it's been very, very successful, especially recently. So trying to avoid that.
From their attacker to one of your attackers, Victor, of course, getting a brace midweek against Atletico. What was your conversation with him like after that? Of course, a lot of rumblings around.
It didn't need a conversation. It just needed a hug and just look at him and enjoy how happy he was after the game. And I think we were all very happy because he fully deserves that.
My final one, 15 goals so far from the opening games. I know you're used to many questions being asked about the manner in which the goals are being scored, with 2/3 of them coming from set pieces. Are you at all concerned that it's only 5 from open play at this stage?
No, not all. Because I don't see football like open play and set pieces. I see the game in a different way.
Okay, thank you, best of luck.
Ian from Talksport.
Hi Mikel, how are you?
Very good, thank you.
You going on from that then, the set pieces, I mean a lot of people say that Arsenal score most of their goals from set pieces. They still can't stop you. And yet football seems to be going more to teams who want to be like you, scoring from set pieces. How have you done and perfected this?
With work. First of all, creating the culture, giving to that part of the game the importance that it has, understanding that the game football is evolving and the opponents are behaving against us, that we have to maximize certain things that happen very frequently. So something that happens very frequently better has a lot of value to us. So trying to maximize that and be effective.
At what point did you say though, or did you hone in on the fact that this was going to be such a rich source of goals and so good for your team?
10 years ago.
Explain.
10 years ago, I said, I think it has to be, I wasn't here, but 10 years ago I said, it's a massive thing to do that, and I started to have a vision and try to implement a method and try to be surrounded by the best people to deliver that.
Just a couple more. Firstly on the defence, Arsene Wenger's success, everyone thought was built around that real famous back four and David Seaman at the back. Are you trying to replicate that without copying and pasting? Are you trying to replicate that Arsenal success with a tight back four?
I just go back to the history of football in general and the teams that have the best defensive record most of the times, except for the last 3 seasons in the Premier League, which we've been. Normally you win the league. So just go against those stats, but the stronger we are in that foundation, the bigger the probability to win games are.
Last one, it's easy when you're a manager, if things are going wrong, I know what I need to put right. How easy is it to manage when things are going perfectly as they are now? And there's temptation not to touch anything, or is there temptation still to?
No, but they are far from perfect, and there are a lot of things that we must do better. Obviously, there are a lot of things that we're doing very, very well, and we need to maintain that. So it's just about understanding that the margins to win football games at this level are very small. In certain moments, we had certain luck. In certain moments, we have fully deserved to win them, but that's not going to be the same trajectory all the way in the season, and we need to be prepared for that. So the more alert we are, the more urgency we have, the more desire we have for the next game, we're going to be in a better place to win the game.
Thank you. Tom, Football London.
Hi Mikel.
Hi.
We saw at the Emirates on Tuesday the light show and the integration of fans' phones. We also saw the messages at half-time and before the game started to encourage fans to get back into their seats as well as early as possible to create a supportive and intimidating atmosphere. How important is that element for you in potentially title race and the impact it can have on games?
Key, capital. One of the most important things. And I love that because we don't expect supporters to turn up to the stadium. We want them just to play the game with us, which is very different. And in order to do that, you have to be in your seat. You have to be in your seat with a certain behavior, with a certain body language. And it's a good test. Sunday at 2 p.m., how are we going to turn up after a big Champions League? And if we're going to go to another step and do something that we didn't do last year, everybody has to turn into the stadium with that mindset. So that's what I want to see.
And can I ask you about what it's like playing against a former club, as Everett is going to do this weekend? You, of course, played against Everton when you moved to Arsenal. What challenges does that create for a player when they're playing teammates, former friends, of course, so soon after they've moved?
There is something else in your tummy, obviously. There is history, there are a lot of emotion, there are very close relationships. You might think once you stepped in there and you go with that mindset, sometimes you have even more will to win. Because as well, obviously, you made that decision here to be successful and to achieve something else in your career. And I'm sure Epps is going to be ready for that.
Thank you.
Simon, Evening Standard.
Mikel, can I just ask you about that when you said 10 years ago you saw the importance of set pieces? Was that because when you were, I think that would have been your last year as a player doing your badges, I assume. Is that because you saw where the game was going and you thought that was going to be a key part of the era of football that we're in now?
Yeah, and because I went to City with the best manager in the world, and I could see where we could have improvements, and it was clear because at some point I was doing that and I wasn't the best person in the world to do it. So if I'm not the best person in the world to do it and the best method to do it, there are ways to improve it. And you could see that straight afterwards what started to happen. But it's not only obsessed with that. I'm the same with the defensive part. In every transition, I want to be the best when it comes to care.